What is the common cause of fear in dogs, right? So when we talk about fear in dogs, you may be thinking about common fears, like maybe they're afraid of people, maybe they're afraid of loud noises. Yes, we're going to talk about those common fears when it comes to dogs, but then stick with me because I want to talk with you about the root cause of why your dog, which may cause fear. So let's just jump right into it with some of the common causes of fear. So, whether your dog's a puppy or an adult dog, there can be common causes for fear, like loud noises, thunderstorms, fireworks, loud vehicles, things like that. Of course, those are things that can make your dog a little bit fearful or on edge. Unfamiliar people, situation, and animals. Dogs in general are hunters by hunters naturally, but they also are cautious around new experiences and things that they're not used to. So taking them to a new place or things like that are unfamiliar, they could be a little bit fearful of that. Of course, punishment and abuse, that definitely will make your dog feel a little bit fearful, depending on what type of mistreatment is going on. So we don't want to do that. Medical issues. This is one thing that you may not think about, but medical issues can sometimes cause fear and anxiety because of the symptoms and underlying health problems and things of such like pain. It could cause like a cognitive decline, which makes them more fearful. So definitely medical issues there. The key thing is going to be to approach each specific triggers and work on desensitizing your dog to them, which just means making your dog feel good about them. So, as I mentioned earlier, I said I was going to talk about these common causes like loud noise, unfamiliar places, and things of such. But let me talk to you about where it all really starts with fear. I am a big advocate of socialization. If your dog is fearful at this point, yes, they could be fearful of these things I just discussed. But if they are, most likely 9 times out of the 10, they may have been under socialized or had a negative experience somewhere along the way. What I'm talking about is the most crucial time for a dog is like the first 8 weeks of life when you want to introduce them to different people, places, and things, right? When that doesn't happen and you don't have exposure to different places, you get a dog that may be fearful. And yes, they may be fearful of loud noises. Why? Because they haven't been there or they haven't had the exposure. Same thing with unfamiliar people and things of animals. So you see why at first I was like, yes, I'll talk about the common things, but let's talk about the root cause. So the reason why your dog is afraid of these things is because earlier on, maybe they were under socialized or some of these things were going on. But essentially, excuse the noise in the background, but essentially, what's going on is they need to start to feel good about it. But that's a whole nother topic. But if you want to kind of get to the root and the trigger of your dog being fearful, you just want to. I always tell folks think back to the early stages when they were around like 8 weeks or early on when they were as a puppy. Or if you're like, you know what, I didn't have my dog as a puppy, they became fearful like last week. I always say, what has changed? If it's not due to under socialization or medical issues or lack of socialization, something's happened with that dog, whether you physically seen it and maybe they were spooked or whether they feel some way internally. We have to remember dogs have feelings too. So just because we don't see the fear outwards, they may be feeling that internally. So the most common causes of fear: loud noises, people, animals, punishment, lack of socialization, which I just talked about, and medical issues. But again, talk about the root cause, lack of socialization, or just abruptly something happening. So now that you know the causes of your dog's fear, there is going to be training behind that, but each dog is going to be different. One quick tip that you can do if you have a fearful dog, depending on what you're doing, fearful dogs love some space. They love avoidance and things like that. So just trying to give your dog space, not putting them in situations where they may be overstimulated or near that trigger. So just distance, space, making sure they're calm and making sure they are relaxed. So Those are the most common causes of fear. I hope you've gained some good insight into what causes it and what that is. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. Other than that, I will see you next week with another great topic. Bye.